Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be chatting about all of the most exciting spring book releases that should be on your radar. I don't think I could be any more excited than I am right now to start seeing green on the trees again. I saw the first buds growing yesterday and it was iconic. It was a great moment. I'm very excited for spring. This is also a kind reminder to start taking your allergy medicine if you have seasonal allergies, because it's got to build up in your system for a little bit in order for it to start working when you really need it. So if you needed that reminder, you're welcome, because I sure did. The months of spring land in March, April, May, and June. So we're talking about 4 months in this video. So let's just get right on into it and start with March. As always, I have my laptop here that I will be reading from. This first one is How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. This cover is so cute. It says it's for fans of Knives Out and the Thursday Murder Club, which is exciting. I hope I'm not jumping the gun in saying this, but I think I'm entering a mystery era. I've been really enjoying them, and this one sounds really fun. It's an enormously fun mystery about a woman who spends her entire life trying to prevent her foretold murder, only to be proven right 60 years later when she is found dead in her sprawling country estate. Now it's up to her great niece to catch the killer. And as Annie, the great niece, gets closer to the truth and closer to the danger, she starts to fear she might inherit her aunt's fate instead of her fortune. I love that. I love how that sounds so much. I love the birds on the cover. I love the vibes of everything about this. I'm really excited for this one. How to Solve Your Own Murder comes out on March 26th. Next book has a stunning cover, and it is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Amide. And it sounds similar to Catherine House, which is one that I really love. So it says it's a YA contemporary mystery about a girl going to a new boarding school, and she's discovering dark secrets and cover-ups after her roommate disappears. So our main character, Sade, has been homeschooled and she's going into her 3rd year of high school, but she's now going to the prestigious Alfred Nobel Academy. Her roommate disappears on the very first night, and she also gets brought in by the most popular group of girls called the Unholy Trinity. It's all very strange. She's trying to balance all of her classes, her new friend group, and all of the sort of tragedies that has gone on within her family. And now a student is found dead. The more that Sade investigates, the more she realizes there's more to Alfred Nobel Academy and its students than she realized. Secrets lurk around every corner and beneath every surface, secrets that rival even her own. I think that sounds pretty interesting. I love this cover. I know I liked Ace of Spades by this author, so it's shaping up to be a good read. Where Sleeping Girls Lie will be out on March 19th. This next one is called The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang, and I love this. Okay, there's a quote that said, "What if I told you that the feeling we call love is actually the feeling of a metaphysical recognition when your soul remembers someone from a previous life?" We follow 3 different timelines. The first one is 4 BCE. An ambitious courtier is called upon to seduce a young emperor, but quickly discovers that they are both ruled by blood, sex, and intrigue. Then in 1740, a lonely innkeeper agrees to help a mysterious visitor procure a rare medicine, only to unleash an otherworldly terror instead. Now, present day LA, a college student meets a beautiful stranger and cannot shake the feeling that they've met before. Across these seemingly unrelated timelines, woven together by the twists and turns of fate, 2 men are reborn lifetime after lifetime. Within the treacherous walls of an ancient palace and the boundless forests of the Asian wilderness to the heart-pounding cement floors of the underground rave scenes, our lovers are inexplicably drawn to each other, constantly tested by the worlds around them. Why is this giving me goosebumps? As their many lives intertwine, they begin to realize the power of their undying love, a power that transcends time itself, but one that might consume them both. A sweeping triumph in queer romance. I love it. Honestly, I think that sounds really fun. It'll have really fun fantasy elements, but it'll also be sort of a deeper emotional romance as well. I'm really excited for it. This one will be out on March 26th. These last few I think will be out before this video is out, but regardless, they come out in March. This first one is Green Frog by Gina Chung, and it will be out on March 12th. I love this cover, and it's a collection of little short stories. It says, equal parts fantastical, a pair of talking dolls help twins escape a stifling home, a heart boils on the stove as part of an elaborate cure for melancholy, a fox demon contemplates avenging her sister's death, and true to life, a mother and daughter try to heal their rift when the daughter falls unexpectedly pregnant, a woman re-examines her father's legacy after his death. The stories in this collection are hopeful and heartbreaking, full of danger and full of joy. I love it. I love the title of this this collection. I love the cover. I think it sounds like it could be a little bit creepy, but also really worthwhile, I suppose. So yeah, this one is coming out on March 12th. If you like short stories, maybe check it out. The next one is Anita Damonte Laughs Last by Xochitl Gonzalez. This one I actually picked for my book of the month choice. It is a mesmerizing novel about a first-generation Ivy League student who uncovers the genius work of a female artist decades after her suspicious death. It says, in 1985, Anita Damonte, a rising star in the art world, is found dead in New York City. Her tragic death is the talk of the town, until it isn't. By 1998, Anita's name has all but forgotten, certainly by the time Raquel, a third-year art history student, is preparing for her final thesis. On College Hill, surrounded by privileged students whose futures are already paved out for them, Raquel feels like an outsider. Students of color like her are the minority here, and the pressure to work twice as hard for the same opportunities is no secret. But when Raquel becomes romantically involved with a well-connected older art student, she finds herself unexpectedly rising up in the social ranks. As she attempts to straddle both worlds, she stumbles upon Anita's story, raising questions about the dynamics of her own relationship, which eerily mirrors that of the forgotten artist. Apparently, it's going to move back and forth between both of these women's perspectives, and it is daring to ask who gets to be remembered and who is left behind in the rarefied world of the elite. I love like an academic setting, and I love, especially if there's like an artsy twist to it, it just adds this little like air of pretentiousness that I just really love. I'm such a wannabe artist, I swear to God. But I'm excited to read this one. It is on its way to me soon, actually. The next one, I don't even know, man. This cover is just kind of fun. It's called The Devil and Mrs. Davenport by Paulette Kennedy. It is a historical fiction horror paranormal book. Like, what? Listen. The first day of autumn brought the fever, and with the fever came the voices. Immediately after that sentence, I was like, okay. It's set in Missouri, 1955. Our main character is Loretta Davenport. She is led an isolated life as a young mother and a wife to Pete, an assistant professor at a Bible college. They're the picture of domestic tranquility until a local girl is murdered and Loretta begins receiving messages from beyond. Pete dismisses them because she's a crazy woman, right? But Loretta knows that they're real and they're frightening. Defying Pete's demands, Loretta finds an encouraging supporter at a parapsychologist, Dr. Curtis Hanson. He sees a woman with a rare gift, more blessing than curse. Now, with Dr. Hanson's help, Loretta's life opens up to empowering new purposes. But for Pete, the God-fearing image he's worked so hard to cultivate is crumbling. Now he's no longer in control of his dutiful wife, and he sees the devil at work. As Loretta's powers grow stronger and the pleading spirits beckon, Pete is determined to deliver his wife from evil. To solve mysteries of the dead, Loretta must first save herself. I don't know this author, but I am so intrigued by this book. It's out on March 5th. It's already out. Go read it and let me know. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I might download it. Okay, now moving into April. On April 9th, The Book That Broke the World by Mark Lawrence comes out. This is book 2 in the library trilogy by this author. And since it's book 2, I will not be reading the synopsis. Book 1 is The Book That Wouldn't Burn. I actually just started this book today. The synopsis for The Book That Wouldn't Burn is a boy has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library, older than empires and larger than cities. A girl has spent hers in a tiny settlement out in the dust where nightmares stalk and no one goes. The world has never even noticed them. That's about to change. Their stories spiral around each other across worlds and time. This is a tale of truth and lies and hearts and the blurring of one into another. A journey on which the knowledge erodes certainty and on which, though the pen may be mightier than the sword, blood will be spilled and cities burned. These covers are absolutely stunning, and if you loved The Book That Wouldn't Burn, the sequel is out. When did I say? April 9th. Then we have A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Catherall. Oh, I just kicked you. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. This one is out on April 23rd, and it is a charming fantasy set in an underwater world with magical academia and a heartwarming pen pal romance, perfect for fans of A Marvelous Light, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and House in the Cerulean Sea. I think that I could really like this. I love water. I love settings that involve water in some way, and we're literally in an underwater world. It says, a beautiful discovery outside the window of her underwater home prompts the reclusive E to begin correspondence with renowned scholar Henry Clell. Henry Clell. The letters they share are filled with passion, at first for their mutual interests and then inevitably for each other. Together they uncover a mystery from the unknown depths, destined to transform the underwater world they both equally fear and love. But by no mere coincidence, a sea quake destroys E's home and she and Henry vanish. Is that really his name? A year later, E's sister Sophie and Henry's brother Virian are left to solve the mystery, piecing together the letters, sketches, and field notes left behind, and learn what their siblings' disappearance might mean for life life as they know it. Inspired, immersive, and full of heart, it's a charming apostrophe tale. It's an adventure into the depths of a magical sea and the limits of the imagination from a marvelous debut voice. I think it sounds like it could be really cute. Again, like a water setting could be very like scary, but it could also be very like tranquil and magical, and I am excited to try this one out. I think it sounds really nice. The next one is super cute. It is The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr, and it comes out on April 9th. It's so cute. It says Clayton might be in his 20s, but he dresses like your grandpa and fusses like your aunt. Abandoned at birth on the steps of the Fellowship of Puzzle Makers, he was raised by a group of eccentric enigmatologists and now finds himself among the last survivors of a fading institution. When the esteemed crossword compiler and maiden maternal presence in Clayton's life, Pippa, passes away, she bestows her final puzzle on him, a promise to reveal the mystery of his parentage and prepare him for life beyond the walls of the commune. So begins Clay's quest to uncover the series surrounding his birth, secrets that will change Clay and the Fellowship forever. It says it's pure joy, a story about love and family and what it means to find your people, no matter what age you are. I think it sounds adorable. I love it. Next we have The Sicilian Inheritance by Joe Piazza. Our main character is Sarah, and she has had a failing business and a failing marriage, and now her Aunt Rosie passes away, so now she's bereft with grief as well. But with Aunt Rosie's death also opens an escape from her life and a window to the past by the way of a plane ticket to Sicily, a deed to a possibly valuable plot of land, and a bombshell family secret. Rosie believes that Sarah's great-grandmother Serafina, the family matriarch who was left behind while her husband worked in America, didn't die of an illness as family lore has it, but that she was murdered. Thus begins a twist-filled adventure that takes Sarah all over the picturesque Italian countryside as she races to solve a mystery and learn the story of Serafina, a feisty and headstrong young woman in the early 1900s thrust into motherhood in her teens who fought for a better life not just for herself, but for all the women in her small village. And unsurprisingly, the more she challenges the status quo, the more she finds herself in danger. I think the setting for this one is what really drew my attention, and the cover. I think the cover is beautiful, and like going on a little like adventure escapade in the Italian countryside, like it sounds like it could be very fun. That one's on April 2nd. Also on April 2nd is Old Flames and New Fortunes by Sarah Hogel. This one says, a small magical town tucked away in rural Ohio, Moonville is the perfect place for floral witch Romania to use the language of flowers to help the hopeful manifest love in their lives. After giving up her own big romance 11 years ago, at least she can bask in others' happily ever afters. When the shop's potential financier shares news of his wedding, Romania jumps at the opportunity to discuss the business, even if it means she has to fake date her chaotic colleague Trevor to get an invitation. I love fake dating, but all hell breaks loose when she discovers that Trevor's soon-to-be stepbrother is none other than Alex King. Of course it is, right? Her high school sweetheart, her greatest love, the boy who broke her heart. What starts as an innocent misunderstanding becomes a week-long fake dating scheme, as Romania quickly finds out she cannot deny her connection with Alex. Caught between her livelihood and her heart, Romania must decide if taking a second chance on first love is worth the risk. I think it sounds really cute. I love a witchy romance book. I think it'll be super fun. Next is Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda. This is on April 9th, and it says, when Hazel Sharp, daughter of Mirror Lake's longtime local detective, unexpectedly inherits her childhood home, she's warily drawn back to the town and people she left behind almost a decade earlier. But Hazel's not the only relic of past to return. A drought has descended in the region, and the water level on the lake drops. Long-hidden secrets begin to emerge, including evidence that may help finally explain the mystery of her mother's disappearance. Again, with like the theme of water, like it sounds really interesting that things are going to start uncovering as the water levels drop and the drought starts to, take hold of the town. Sounds like it has some elements that I would really like. Wanted to mention it here for sure. Ooh, another one is One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. This is on April 16th, and it says, years after a breakdown and a diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder derailed her historical preservationist career, Kenetria and her alters have been given a second chance they can't refuse, a position as resident caretaker of a historic home. Having been dormant for years, Ken has no idea what led them to this isolated Hudson River island, but she's determined to not ruin their opportunity. Just as nor'easter bears down on the island disrupts her newfound life, leaving Ken trapped with a group of possibly dangerous strangers, including the man who brought her life tumbling down years earlier. When he turns up dead, Ken is the prime suspect. Caught in a web of secrets and in a race against time, Ken and her alters must band together to prove their innocence and discover the truth of Kavanaugh Island and their own past, or they risk losing not only their future, but their life. I think it's interesting because normally at the end of the book, you'll learn that someone has like a dissociative identity disorder or something, and then it's sort of like, oh, it was the same person all along. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that we know this from the the beginning, and I think that it could really make the story even more interesting, and I'm excited to see how Alyssa Cole does this story, because I know I really liked When No One Is Watching, and yet another stunning cover for this author, so love that. Next, of course, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. Do I even need to tell you about it? Of course I do. We have Daphne. Always loved the way her fiance Peter told their story, how they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errant hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He really was good at telling it right up until the moment he realized he was actually in love with his childhood best friend Petra, which is how Daphne begins her new story, stranded in beautiful Waning Bay, Michigan, without friends or family, but with a dream job as a children's librarian that barely pays the bills, and proposing to be roommates with the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles. Scruffy and chaotic, with a penchant for taking solace in the sounds of heartbreak love ballads, Miles is exactly the opposite of practical, buttoned-up Daphne, whose coworkers know so little about her that they have a running bet that she's either FBI or in witness protection. The roommates mainly avoid one another until one day, while drowning their sorrows, they form a tenuous friendship and a plan. If said plan also involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their summer adventures together, well, who could blame them? But it's all just for show, of course, because there's no way Daphne would actually start her new chapter by falling in love with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex, right? What? That's such a fun little, like, twist. I think that sounds awesome. I love Emily Henry. Of course I'm excited for her new book. That will be out on April 23rd. Then we have The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. College sweethearts meet again years later in this highly anticipated romance companion story. Oh, to The Cheat Sheet. Okay, so that's a companion to that book. That's interesting. I didn't know that. This one is Nora, and her career lies in the hands of famous NFL tight end Derek, who also happens to be her extremely hot college ex-boyfriend. Nora didn't end things as gracefully as she should have back then, and now it's come back to haunt her. Derek is her first client as an official full-time sports agent, and he's holding a grudge. Derek has set his sights on a little friendly revenge. If Nora, the first girl to ever break his heart, wants to be his agent, oh, he'll let her be his agent. The plan is to make Nora's life absolutely miserable, but if Derek knows anything about the woman he once loved, she won't quit easily. Instead of giving in, Nora starts a scheme of her own. But when a wild night in Vegas leads to Nora and Derek in bed the next morning married, with the rule book out the window, could this new relationship be the thing to save their careers? I haven't read a Sarah Adams yet, and this one might be my first. Maybe I should read the cheat sheet first. Maybe you guys could let me know, but it sounds awesome. It sounds really fun. It comes out on April 2nd. This one is also on April 2nd, and it is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. I love her writing. I'm just so excited. It says, Justin has a curse, and thanks to a Reddit thread, it's now all over the internet. Every woman he dates goes on to find their soulmate the second they break up. When a woman slides into his DMs with the same problem, they come up with a plan. They'll date each other and break up. Their curses will cancel each other's out, and they'll both go to find the love of their lives. It's a bonkers idea, and it just might work. Emma hadn't planned that her next assignment as a traveling nurse would be in Minnesota, but she and her best friend agree that dating Justin is too good of an opportunity to pass up, especially when they get to rent an adorable cottage on a private island on Lake Minnetonka. It's supposed to be a quick fling just for the summer, but when Emma's toxic mother shows up and Justin has to assume guardianship of his 3 siblings, they're suddenly navigating a lot more than they expected, including catching real feelings for each other. What if this time fate has actually brought the perfect pair together? That got really real really fast. So the first paragraph was like really lighthearted and kind of funny, and then it got like, oh, they both have a lot of shit going on. Okay, well, I didn't expect it to go that way, but one thing that I know Abby Jimenez does really well is write the difficult scenes just as good as like the happy scenes. So I'm really excited about it. I think the cover is beautiful. And again, April 2nd. Next on April 9th is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Very excited. This one says, in a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Loukia uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands that Loukia use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as simple amusement for the bored nobility takes a perilous turn when Loukia garners the notice of Antonio, the disgraced secretary to Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of his armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Antonio will stop at nothing to regain the king's favor. Determined to seize this one chance to better her fortunes, Loukia plunges into a world of seers and alchemists, holy men and huskers? What is that? Where the line between magic, science, and fraud is never certain. But as her notoriety grows, so does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. She will have to use every bit of her wit and will to survive, even if that means enlisting the help of Gillian, an embittered, immortal familiar whose own secrets could prove deadly for them both. I know I love Leigh Bardugo's writing, and I think I've seen some early reviews that are pretty positive, so I am excited. This one's cover was just too pretty not to talk about. It is Clear by Karis Davies, and it comes out on April 2nd. This book is a stunning, exquisite novel from an award-winning writer about a minister dispatched to a remote island off of Scotland to clear the last remaining inhabitant, who has no intention on leaving. It is unfolding in the 1840s in the final stages of the infamous Scottish clearances, which saw whole communities of the rural poor driven off the land in a relentless program of forced evictions. This singular, beautiful, and deeply surprising novel explores the differences and connections between us, the way history shapes our deepest convictions, and how the human spirit can survive despite all odds. Moving and unpredictable, sensitive and spellbinding, Clear is a profound and pleasurable read. The idea of following just two people on this Scottish island, like, it's going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be beautiful and a little bit like inspiring and uplifting, and probably hard to read at times too, I'm imagining, but I just loved this cover so much. The colors are perfect. The water is beautiful, and I just wanted to mention it. Has anyone ever actually won a Goodreads giveaway? Because I never have, and I've entered like literally hundreds. But that's it for April. Let's go on to May. This one is The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. Very excited about this. It says, solve the murder to save what's left of the world. Outside the island, there is nothing. The world was destroyed by a fog that swept the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm, and feast, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told by the scientists. Until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death, and then they learn that the murder has triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. If the murder isn't solved within 107 hours, the fog will smother the island and everyone on it. But the security system has also wiped everyone's memories of exactly what happened the night before, which means that someone on the island is a murderer and they don't even know it. And the clock is ticking. I love it. I think it sounds really funny, kind of a little bit ridiculous, and just a fun little chaotic setup. This book will be out on May 21st. Next, we have The Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley. Love this cover a lot. This one says, in the near future, a civil servant is offered the salary of her dreams and is shortly afterward told what project she'll be working on. A recently established government ministry is gathering expats from across history to establish whether time travel is feasible for the body, but also for the fabric of space-time. She is tasked with working as a bridge, living with, assisting, and monitoring the expat known as 1847, or Commander Graham Gore. As far as history is concerned, Commander Gore died in Sir John Franklin's doomed 1845 expedition to the Arctic. So he's a little disoriented to be living with an unmarried woman who regularly shows her calves, surrounded by outlandish concepts such as washing machines, Spotify, and the collapse of the British Empire. But with an appetite for discovery, a 7-day cigarette habit, and the support of a charming and chaotic cast of fellow expats, he soon adjusts. Over the next year, what the bridge initially thought would be at best a horrifically uncomfortable roommate dynamic evolves into something much deeper. By the time the true shape of the ministry's project comes to light, the bridge has fallen haphazardly, fervently in love with consequences she never could have imagined. Forced to confront the choices that brought them together, the bridge must finally reckon with how and whether she believes what she does next can change the future. I adore this. I can't wait for it. I have to wait until May 7th though. That's when it comes out. Next is You Like It Darker by Stephen King. That comes out on May 21st. I'm surprised I'm talking about Stephen King because I really haven't had luck with the ones I've tried, but I also like that this is a collection of short stories. And it says, you like it darker? Fine, so do I, writes Stephen King in the afterword to this magnificent new collection of 12 stories that delve into the darker part of life. King writes to feel the exhilaration of leaving ordinary day-to-day life behind. Each of these stories holds its own thrills, joys, and mysteries. Each feels iconic. You like it darker? You got it. It's kind of funny. I don't know. I think I'm more inclined to try this as my next Stephen King. I honestly think that like short stories might be easier for my mind to try out his writing again since I haven't had luck in the past because I really want to. A lot of people love him and I think that he's a talented writer. I just haven't vibed with his stories yet. So I'm looking forward to maybe trying this one and it comes out on May 21st. Next we have, I'm really excited about this one, Goddess of the River by Vishwanavi Patel. So So I read Kaike, and it was like one of my favorites of last year. I can't wait. This is a retelling of Ganga, the goddess of the river, and her doomed mortal son. A goddess and a priest, a curse and an oath, a river whose course will change the fate of the world. Ganga, joyful goddess of the river, serves as the caretaker to the mischievous godlings who roam her banks. But when their antics incur the wrath of a powerful sage, Ganga is cursed to become mortal, bound to her human form until she fulfills the obligations of the curse. Though she knows nothing of mortal life, Ganga weds King Shantanu and becomes a queen, determined to regain her freedom no matter the cost. But in a cruel turn of fate, just as she is freed from her binding, she is forced to leave her infant son behind. Man, I loved her writing so much. This cover is just as beautiful as Kaike. I am just so excited. I'm so excited. It comes out on May 21st. This next one, I have not tried to read from this author yet, but it is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I notice these covers everywhere. I don't really know anything about her other books, but this one says, Lucy is the tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward's Island. Felix is the local who shows her a very good time. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Yikes. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat the electric night again. Easier said than done. Each year, Lucy escapes to Prince Edward Island for a big breath of coastal air, fresh oysters, and crisp vino verde with her best friend Bridget, and every visit begins with a long walk on the beach beneath soaring red cliffs and the golden sun. And every visit, Lucy promises herself she won't wind up in Felix's bed again. If Lucy can't help being drawn to Felix, at least she's always kept her heart out of it. Doesn't sound like you have, Miss Lucy. When Bridget suddenly flees Toronto a week before her wedding, Lucy drops everything to follow her to the island. Her mission is to help Bridget, through her crisis, resist the one man she's never been able to. But Felix's sparkling eyes and flirty quips have been replaced with something new, and Lucy's beginning to wonder just how safe her heart truly is. I like how this sounds. I like a vacation romance. I think it adds a little extra sense of, not carelessness, but like there are no consequences. And obviously there will be consequences because feelings are caught, and I think it sounds like it could be fun. Maybe this will be my first book by this author, or let me know if I should read others first. Next we have One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. It's on May 21st. This one says it's a hearkening to Agatha Christie's classic And Then There Were None. And then I want to also mix it with like Survivor, because it sounds like it's a classic little setup, right? Our two main characters, Lila and Nico, have a relationship that isn't going so great. Their professional lives aren't going so great. So they sign up to be on this new reality TV show, The One Perfect Couple. And basically it's like a Survivor situation. They're on this island, no cell phone service, no nothing, and they're having to survive on, the land. The fresh water's running out, and Lila finds that the game is all too real and the stakes are life or death. And since it's a Ruth Ware, people seem to love her books, I decided to let you guys know it comes out on May 21st. All right, let's go into June. The last month of spring. Okay, are we ready? This is The Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohatni. This one is a grim, dark, high fantasy with a lot of politics and a lot of characters to follow, and the Empire is simmering on the brink of oblivion. We have characters who are putting plans in motion beyond the Republic's blood-soaked borders to protect it from annihilation, but they will soon discover that neither gold nor alliances last forever. But they also know that they are not alone in this game because there are, like I said, many other characters going on. There's a pirate princess, there's a crippled hero turned torturer, and all of their lives are about to become very difficult for a cast of sinister queens, naive kings, pious assassins, and ravenous priests who are converging where the Son of Darkness is prophesied to rise. Even as forgotten, gods prepare to play their hand. I think that sounds really fun. It is the first of a new series, so, put it on your radars. It comes out on June 3rd. Next, I am so excited about this one. It is Children of Anguish and Anarchy. This is the third book in the Legacy of Orisha. Oh, we've been waiting so long for this. I love this author. I love this series. Children of Blood and Bone is the first book, and it is one of the books that I hold so near and dear to my heart because I think it really opened my eyes to what fantasy could be. When I was rediscovering reading for the first time, I felt every single emotion in this series so far, and Children of Blood and Bone was just so good and so fun. It's like an adventure style fantasy with like a forbidden love between our main character and the prince. They're kind of going at each other's throats. It's enemies to lovers, like for real. real, and it's awesome. It is literally so good. Check out Children of Blood and Bone sometime soon so that you can eventually continue the series, and now it will have an ending. I'm so excited. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. It is the second book in the Lakefront Billionaires series. So it is a romance series, and I think historically you can read them out of order if you really wanted to, but the first one is called Love Redesigned, which is a steamy small town romance about two family friends turned childhood rivals. I need to read this book. I read her Dreamland Billionaire series, and The Fine Print is one of my favorite romance books. I really loved it. So I gotta read this series, but the second one will come out in June, which is exciting. Next we have One of Our Kind by Nicola Yoon. I love this cover. It says, Jasmine and King Williams move their family to the planned Black utopia of Liberty, California, hoping to find a community of like-minded people, a place where their family can thrive. King settles in at once, embracing the Liberty ethos, including the Lux Wellness Center at the top of the hill, which proves to be the heart of the community, but Jasmine struggles to find her place. She expected to find liberals and social justice activists striving for racial equality, but Liberty residents seem more focused on booking spa treatments and ignoring the world's troubles. Jasmine's only friends in the community are equally perplexed and frustrated by most residents' outlook. Then Jasmine discovers a terrible secret about Liberty and its founders. Frustration turns to dread as their loved ones start embracing the Liberty way of life. Will the truth destroy her world in ways she never could have imagined? I think it sounds really awesome, and it says it Get Out meets the Stepford Wives. It's terrifying and thought-provoking. Like, I love it. It sounds right up my alley. I'm excited about it. This next cover is, wow, I love it. It's called The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. It says, early morning, August 1975, a camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She's the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and employs most of the region's residents. And this isn't the first time a Van Laar child has disappeared. Barbara's older brother, similarly vanished 14 years ago, never to be found. As a panicked search begins, a thrilling drama unfolds, chasing down the layered secrets of the Van Laar family and the blue-collar community working in its shadow. Moore's multi-threaded story invites readers into a rich and gripping dynasty of secrets and second chances. I love it. I love this cover. I love how it sounds. I think that this could be a really good one. I do. Dare I say it? That comes out on July 2nd. Wait, July 2nd? Why is it in a tab here? That's summer, not spring. Well, it comes out on July 2nd. You can put it on your radar now if you want, because it's on my radar. Little sneaky hoe was not supposed to be here. Oh well. Well, I'm really excited about it regardless. Okay, next is Middle of the Night by Rylee Sager. The worst thing to ever happen on Hemlock Circle occurred in Ethan Marsh's backyard. One July night, 10-year-old Ethan and his best friend neighbor Billy fell asleep in a tent up on a manicured lawn in a quiet, quaint New Jersey cul-de-sac. In the morning, Ethan woke up alone. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken Billy. He was never seen again. 30 years later, Ethan has reluctantly returned to his childhood home. Plagued by bad dreams and insomnia, he begins to notice strange things happening in the middle of the night. Someone seems to be roaming the cul-de-sac at odd hours, and signs of Billy's presence keeps appearing in Ethan's backyard. Is someone playing a cruel prank, or has Billy, long thought to be dead, somehow returned to Hemlock Circle? The mysterious occurrences prompt Ethan to investigate what really happened that night, a quest that reunites him with former friends and neighbors and leads him into the woods that surround Hemlock Circle. Woods where Billy claimed monsters roamed and where a mysterious institute does clandestine research on a crumbling estate. The closer Ethan gets to the truth, the more he realizes that no place, be it quiet forest or suburban street, is completely safe, and that the past has a way of haunting the present. Hemlock Circle, such a badass name for a neighborhood. I'm kind of obsessed with that. Love this cover. These colors are amazing. I think I've turned into a Rylee Sager fan. I'll say it. I've liked more than I haven't, so I am excited. I'm excited for this. Next, we have The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This is a new locked room murder mystery. Very fun. It says, welcome to the opening of the Weekend of the Manor. Why did I say it like that? To the Weekend of the Manor, a luxury resort built on top of old secrets in an ancient wood. The founder, the husband, the mystery guest, the kitchen help, all have an agenda, all have a past, but not everyone will survive the midnight feast. That's it. That's the synopsis. And I'm really into it. I am. Sounds fun. That one comes out on June 18th. This one, oh, debatably one I'm most excited about, okay? Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I'm so excited about this one. It's a chilling twist on the cursed film genre. Ooh, Cannot wait. June 1993, a group of young guerrilla filmmakers spent 4 weeks making Horror Movie, a notorious disturbing art house horror flick. The weird part, only 3 of the film's scenes were ever released to the public, but Horror Movie has nevertheless grown a rabid fan base. 3 decades later, Hollywood is pushing for a big budget reboot. The man who played the Thin Kid is the only surviving cast member. He remembers all too well the secrets buried within the original screenplay, the bizarre events of the filming, and the dangerous cross lines on set that resulted in tragedy. As memories flood back in, the boundaries between reality and film, past and present, start to blur. But he's going to help remake the film, even if it means navigating a world of cynical producers, egomaniacal directors, and surreal fan conventions. Demons of the past be damned. But at what cost? I didn't bring water up here, and I'm starting to lose my voice. I've been talking for a while. Oh my god. It's fine. Oh my god, it's not fine. Oh my god, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Okay, but Horror Movie, I'm really excited about it. This has never happened before in my life. We're almost done. Holy hell. Okay, next is Foul Days by Genoveva Demova. This is the beginning of The Witch's Compendium of Monsters, a new series. It's The Witcher meets Naomi Novik in this fast-paced fantasy rooted in Slavic folklore. Okay, come on, you can do it. As a witch in the walled city of Chernograd, Kosara has plenty of practice taming Raskalas, fighting Chimeras, and brewing lycanthrope repellent. There's only one monster Kosara can't defeat, her ex, the Zymey. What do you mean? What do you mean her ex is a dragon? Z-M-E-Y. How do you pronounce that? Her ex was a dragon? Oh, Zmee. Okay, that makes sense. It says her ex, the Zmee, known as the Star of Monsters. So her ex is Zmee, which is a Slavic dragon. That's interesting. She's defied him one too many times, and now he's hunting her. Betrayed to him by someone close to her, Kosara's only hope is to trade her shadow, the source of her powers, for illegal passage across the wall to Belgrade, where monsters can't follow. I love that her shadow is her source of her power. Like, very cool. Life in Belgrade should be sweet, but Kosara soon develops a fact-acting version of the deadly wasting sickness that stalks shadowless witches, and only reclaiming her magic can cure her. To trace her shadow, she'll have to team up with the suspiciously honorable detective investigating the death of the smuggler who brought her across the wall. Even worse than working with the cops is that the clues point to a single direction. One of the Zmee's monsters has found a crack in the wall, and Kosara's magic is now in the Zmee's hands. The clock is ticking, the hunt is on, and Kosara's priorities should be clear, but is she the hunter or the hunted? And in the city where everyone is out for themselves, who can Kosara turn to assist her in outwitting the man, the monster, she's never been able to escape alone? Sounds so interesting. Like a story that I have not heard about before. You know what I'm saying? I think that sounds really fun. It comes out on June 25th. I think my voice might be better. I don't know what the hell happened. Next, we have The Paris Window by Kimberly Bell. This says, when Stella met Adam, she thought that she finally found a nice, normal guy, a welcome change from her previous boyfriend and her precarious jet-setter lifestyle with him. But her secure world comes crashing down when Adam goes missing after an explosion in City Square. Unable to reach him, she panics. As the French police investigate, it was revealed that Adam was on their radar as a dealer of rare and stolen antiquities with a long roster of criminal clients. Reeling from this news, Stella is determined not to leave Paris until she has the full story. Was Adam a random victim or the target of the explosion? And why is someone following her through the streets of Paris? Cover's really pretty. I think this is a really fun premise, especially with like the antiquity part of it. It's giving Blacklist or White Collar, and I love it. Okay, the last one that we will talk about. Ready? A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. Eileen loves to get lost in a good happily ever after. The fictional kind, anyway, because at least imaginary men don't leave you at the altar. She feels safe in a book at home, which might be why she's so set on going her annual book club retreat this year. She needs good friends, cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures, no matter what. But when her car unexpectedly breaks down on the way, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that feels right like it's out of a novel, because it is. The place can't be real, and yet she's here in Aurora Town, the town of her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar burgers are always a little burnt, and rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that's why she must be here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there's a character in Aurora Town that she can't place, a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes and an irresistibly sexy mouth and an impeccable taste in novels, and he does not want her finished finishing this book, which is a problem because Elsie is beginning to think the town's happily ever after might be intertwined with her own. Okay, I am obsessed with this. I almost didn't put this on the list because I didn't love the 7-year slip, and since it was so highly suggested, I just I don't know. I wasn't really excited to pick up another book by the author, but oh my god, I kind of love this a lot. Love it. Cannot wait for June 25th when this one comes out. Okay, good work everyone. We did it. We made it through. What a time to be alive. Okay, spring releases. There was quite a bit. Which ones are you most excited about? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to know. But if you don't know what else to say, leave me the crystal ball emoji down below in the comments. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.